scratched our heads a little bit as to why it was in the co-main event, turned into a classic. That being this featherweight bout between Nate, the Train Landwehr, and David Onama, with Nate Landwehr taking it by a majority decision, with one judge scoring it 28-28 even, and the other two judges giving it to Landwehr 29-27. This fucking fight, guys, making me cuss on this show.
I thought you were
Omar,
saying a different word.
making me cuss on this show.
Carry on. Carry on.
Omar, Omar, you start this time. What was your reaction as this incredible back and forth war was unfolding before your very eyes?
I mean, I gotta say, the first round seemed relatively straightforward, right? It was David Onama doing David Onama things and putting hands on people and making people look like, oh, what have I done stepping in this cage here? Uh, and the first round I thought went kind of handily, but we got to a point where David Onama started getting crazy at the end of that first round, and I was like, you're gonna pay for that if you can't close the show right here. You're gonna pay for this, man. This is you're burning here. Did not close the show. Second round comes out. I don't know if they put a firecracker up Nate Landwehr's ass or what they did to that man, but this guy came out and made it seem like the first round didn't even happen. Started tearing Onama up. And it really it kind of started going back and forth. I would say Nate got a good amount of strikes in. The second round I still think went for Onama. But Nate Landwehr was fighting back. And by the time we got to the third round, Nate Landwehr was very close to putting Onama out. And that fight was just ridiculously back and forth. I was yelling for all three of those rounds. I think one judge I think had 10-8 round for Onama for for Landwehr for the third round.
No.
How did it get scored then?
Every judge gave Landwehr 10-8 in the second round.
Second round, okay. And then the third round was for
every judge gave Onama the first. One judge gave Onama the third.
Okay. It was a wild fight. It was an absolutely maddening fight, way back and forth. I do give credit for Onama for even powering through that third round because I did not think he was going to be able to. It's a classic, man. It's a classic that had no business being a classic.
Yeah, man.
It was one of those fights that shined, that had no expectations and lived wholly above anything we would have thought would have happened in that fight. It was legendary.
This is a fight, folks. Just listen to me. I don't get this hype very often, but this fight had me out of my seat, figuratively speaking. If you don't have ESPN Plus, go on ESPN.com right now and pay the $7 just to watch this goddamn fight tonight. Mark, your turn. You go.
Well said. I'll defend us quick first. We were knocking this fight for lacking in star power as a co-main event. The fact that it was a banger, A, is not something we said it couldn't be.
True.
And B, doesn't change my take that it didn't have the star power to be a co-main event. So, with that out of the way, what a fucking fight. What the hell do you even say about this fight? It was fucking insanity. Omar stole my opening point, which was that round one looked pretty much how I thought it was going to look. Like David Onama showed exactly what I thought he'd be able to do to Nate Landwehr. On the face of it, both guys fresh. I think Onama was the more skilled martial artist, but cardio is a motherfucker. And Onama pushed it too hard in round one, and he was fighting a guy who will go all day long. And when your cardio starts to fail you, it doesn't matter how good you are, suddenly you're a lot worse. So that fight changed on a dime in round two. Landwehr just started absolutely bullying a tired Onama around the cage. There were times where he was literally just tossing Onama. Like he would reach out with two hands. They'd be in the maybe not center, but like feet away from the cage. he would reach out with two hands and just put him in the cage. Like he would physically throw him into the cage just so he could work against the cage. He was absolutely bullying him. He was taking him wherever he wanted. He was landing huge shots. To Onama's credit, he was somehow taking them. And then I really thought for a second at the end of round 2 that James Krause was going to stop the fight. Like he was talking to Onama on the stool. He kept asking him if he wanted to keep fighting. Onama wasn't answering. And I was like, oh shit, like this is about to be over. Yeah. But I guess he got just enough of a response from Onama and he let him go. And it seemed like it was the right call because Onama had more in the tank. He looked like he was dead. And he freaking comes out in round 3. And like, yeah, he was still taking a beating at certain times in round 3, but then he kept coming with burst after burst. And there was a couple times where I was like, holy fuck, he's about to swing this fight and still win this thing, or at least draw this thing. Cause I knew round 2 was a 10-8. But yeah, the adrenaline was just going crazy for both guys in that third round. Landwehr was feeding off the crowd so much. Then Onama started to get into it. You saw him have a new energy. It was just insanity. Absolutely great fight. Neither guy should hang his head. Obviously, Nate shouldn't, but Onama should not either. And Nate Landwehr announces himself to the world in his 5th UFC fight.
Absolutely, man. In that third round, when he decided to stop ground and pounding, if Onama went down, he would just stand up and he would just, play to the crowd and hype the crowd up.
Yep.
It was great, man.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was.
Let's talk about. If you guys are okay, let's just talk about Nate Landwehr since he won the fight in terms of where he might go next from here at featherweight. Omar, give me a name that you would be excited to tune back in and see Nate Landwehr fight again.
Let me get my list up real quick.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for
it. So as good as he looked, I mentioned it was his 5th fight. He is only 3-2 in the octagon. He lost to Herbert Burns and he lost to Julian Erosa. So you can't treat him like he's a world beater, in my opinion, despite the amazing performance. So you could go a little higher than this. I was thinking, how about Josh Kulabau? He just had a war with Sung Woo Choi himself. He looks really good right now. I think you put those two in there together and you get another surefire scrap. I don't hate going a little higher than that, but I think that one's solid.
Omar?
I will go a little higher than that. And I will go with the boy Billy Q. Nate Landwehr has called him out. Frankly, that stylistic fight is guaranteed to be a banger. Like, you could slap 100% guaranteed sticker on that shit. That will be a banger. Yep. I love that fight. I don't think Quarantillo has anything going on right now, so I think that's perfect.
I like that a lot.
Very on board
like
with
Billy
that.
Q, 100%. Let's go Cub Swanson. I'm kidding. It does not deserve that yet.
Dude, it'd be fun. But Cub just went down to bantamweight, remember? Who's he fighting? Right. I forget. Remember he got announced in a bantamweight fight? And remember we were like, oh, shit. Fuck, who is it? Now I'm looking. Hold on. Cub got announced against Jonathan Martinez, which is so random, too. Like, we couldn't have a better bantamweight than that. I don't know.
What the fuck was
Whatever.
that?
Yeah. I think you broke it on MMA Hour a few weeks ago. I mean, MMA Sphere, not MMA Hour.
It's a different podcast.
Ariel.
Yeah.